just what lying sacks of you mainstream media maggots really are. Your ignorance... Your ignorance and deceitfulness are as out in the open now as Jeffrey Toobin's wiener during a Zoom call. So CNN, MSNBC, ABC, NBC, CBS, you keep doing what you're doing and we'll keep doing what we're doing. And we'll chat again on November 6th. And when I hear you say we're fear-mongering, it'll only mean whatever we're mongering is the truth. Let's welcome tonight's guest. Biden preps at Camp David. Andrew, Joe Biden's now holed up in Camp David, which is a camp named after David, where he will spend the next week, it's a week from tonight, preparing for the CNN, whatever that is, presidential debate. As a chef, you know what prep time means. Will any amount of prep time help him? What should he do?
Yeah, this is the culinary equivalent of microwaving all the steaks before the massive wedding or banquet, right? But this reminds me of Rocky Ford. You remember you had Drago and then you had Rocky, and Drago was in this lab and he was using all this modern technology, and then Rocky was out there punching dead, rotten trees.
Yes.
Right? So right now you've got like Biden in a lab getting a modern version of a lobotomy, and they're figuring out the perfect combination of amphetamines, crack, and Botox, and trying to determine how he makes it that hour. And then you got Trump sitting in a McDonald's eating 25 super value big meals, talking to the community, you know, or going to a diner and sipping on coffee. I don't even know if he drinks coffee. He probably doesn't.
Yeah.
And then he's going to come out and he's going to rock Drago's butt.
Maybe, except Kat makes a good point often on this show, which surprises me. That Biden will work on the mercy and sympathy factor, and number two, if you underestimate him so much, it doesn't take much for him to succeed.
Absolutely. I think that I'm not alone in being shocked that this is actually happening.
Yeah.
I think a lot of us thought this wouldn't actually happen, that something would come up or he would make an excuse like, I'm not going to normalize Trump by debating him, which is something I think they were kind of throwing around, some Democratic talking heads, for a while, that he shouldn't do that. And yeah, the expectations are so low to see him in this kind of format where people are, if he flubs a few things, that'll be okay. If he gets through it, I think people will be shocked, and I've said this a million times, I'll say it again, his strength is his weakness. And one of the things that people like about Trump is he really can get some zingers on people. It's really hard to be perceived as getting zingers on a guy that looks like he belongs in the hospital.
Yes. Yeah. You can't make fun of a guy in ICU.
It's harder to do, for sure. I know, you're not allowed
I go to the hospital
even if you
my
need
material on the guys in intensive care. Nobody likes it. Tyrus, do you have advice for Trump?
You know what? Advice, I would probably treat this CNN intervention. It's not a debate. When you control the mics, that means you'll make it to where anything Trump says directly to Biden will be turned off, so Biden doesn't have to go off script. So we already know that they have the ability to leak the questions because Hillary got them. So you damn sure best believe he's going over the questions.
That's a good point.
So all he has to do is focus on Tapper, and I'm sure Tapper will have some sick days in the next 10 days, or whomever from the show will be off. And they will go down there and they will just practice focusing on them and answering their questions. So he'll do that part. And the part where Americans, we have to come in, because if I was President Trump and I saw this, once they cut the mic off, then I'd look at this as like Animal House. I'd just say my thing and go.
Yeah.
You know, and as you walk out and Tapper says, you never work in this town again. You're in double promote. I mean it. You're finished, mister. They just keep walking out. And then, you know, because they've said this is not a debate. No crowd. Why? Because somebody might have a shiny watch on or ring, and the president will be.
Yeah.
You know, so it's not a debate. There was never going to be a debate. There's going to be a Q&A with CNN, and every time Trump jumps in, I'm sure they'll be like, that's a lie, sir, your time, sir, and they'll hit the mic. So I think that it's set up for Trump to fail. But really, America, we're failing because we shouldn't lower the bar for anyone. To be president, you have to be here, period.
Emily, what's your advice?
Well, and keep in mind how the mainstream media is already shaping this. They're putting out about how they're preparing. So according to them, they say Biden is, he's hunkering down at a mountainside retreat, poring over policy briefs with a tight circle of advisors, honing his policy lines. No, he's not. He's in a death becomes her factory getting juiced up and eating Jell-O. And then they say that President Trump, they're like, meanwhile, he's sharpening his barbs and like hanging out with vice presidential hopefuls. No, he's listening to Americans. And you know what he's also doing that Biden never did? Calling angel families. The families like Rachel Warren's mother. He's listening to the rank and file. He's meeting with lawmakers. Trump is doing what we wish the commander in chief would do, which is just listen, man.